بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
And when we talk about this issue of, takabbur, it eventually ruins not only individuals, but also nations. Powerful and arrogant rulers in the past, as well as during our own time. They have passed where we see that, they had power, money. They consider them to be themselves, supreme emperor. But we have so many examples of our own time that we saw their downfall with total humiliation. And this is where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala even talks about even nations, not just individuals. I would like to share with you 4 ayat from Surah Isra. And this is actually not just a story that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is mentioning. He's actually giving us the sense of how Allah deals with nations in general, in the past as well as in the present and the future. But Allah says that we basically inform the children of Israel in the book, in their own book, that لَتَفْسُدَنَّ فِي الْعَرْضِ مَرَّتَيْنِ, that you will create mischief in the land twice. And you shall reach an exceedingly high level of rebellion and arrogance. And so this is a kind of a warning Allah is giving, that I'm telling you this is what you're going to do, and I promise I will come back with punishment for you. And then the ayat goes on, فَإِذَا جَاءَ وَعْدُ أُولَاهُمَا, when the first of these 2 incidences of mischief happened, Ba'athna, Allah says, when you rebelled, when you became powerful, you became arrogant, Allah says, we basically sent over you, Ba'athna ilaykum ibadan lana, our servants who possessed great might, and they just basically came to you and they occupied your area, they searched around the houses. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, وَكَانَ وَعْدًا مَفْعُولًا. My first, promise of punishment was fulfilled. But then, and this actually refers to 600 years before Christ. This is before Christ, when, this Babylonian king by the name of Bakht al-Nasr from southern area of Iraq and Iran, he's the one who took an army, totally destroyed Jerusalem, and took most of the Bani Israil as slaves to Iraq. And they were there for about a century before they were released and they went back. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, now Allah is saying how I deal with nations. ثُمَّ رَدَدْنَا لَكُمُ الْكَرَى عَلَيْهِمْ. Then Allah says, basically you repented, you reformed yourself. I turned the tables in your favor now. وَامْدَدْنَاكُمْ بِأَمْوَالٍ وَبَنِينَ. And I gave you wealth and children. وَجَعَلْنَاكُمْ أَكْثَرُ نَفِيرًا. And I even increased your numbers, your population. إِنْ أَحْسَنْتُمْ أَحْسَنْتُمْ لِأَنفُسِكُمْ. If you do good, it is for your own good. وَإِنْ أَسَأْتُمْ فَلَهَا. And if you do evil, it is for yourself. And so Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala uses that one example. Then He says, فَإِذَا جَاءَ وَعْدُ الْآخِرَ. Then the second incident happened. And this is where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent another nation. لَيَسُوءُ وُجُوهَكُمْ, so that they may disgrace your faces. وَلَيَدْخُلُوا الْمَسْجِدِ. And so that they may enter the temple as they entered this the first time. And they basically وَدَخَلُوهُ أَوَّلَ مَرَّةٍ. And they utterly destroyed the temple. This happened about 6 decades before Isa. The first incident was 600 years. This is just 60 years before the birth of Isa alayhi salam. And this time it was the Romans. The Romans came in and, took over what is known as Jerusalem and Palestine. And then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and this is where I'm coming to the general, method of Allah dealing with nations. The last ayat is very important for us. Asa rabbukum an yarhamukum. Allah says to Bani Israil, it is possible that Allah will have mercy on you if you repent and you reform and you change yourself. وَإِنْ عُدْتُمْ عُدْنَا. If you can remember these words, 3 words. إِنْ عُدْتُمْ عُدْنَا, which means if you return, I will return. Means we have these 2 stories there, but then Allah says this is not the end of the story. If you return back to arrogance and rebellion, I will return back with reprisal. And this shows that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this is just an example that Allah has given, that, this happens constantly. And, we don't know. This ayat number 8 is very clear. The method of dealing with the arrogant people will continue. Whom will Allah use this time, we don't know. But one thing is for sure. The Mazlumeen, the oppressed, wherever they are, should not despair, because justice will eventually prevail, according to this system that Allah mentions in Surah Isra.
Allahumma salli ala Muhammadin wa ali Muhammad.